I just want to talk a little bit about that war in the Persian Gulf. Well, we like war. We like war. We're a warlike people. We like war because we're good at it. And you know why we're good at it? Because we get a lot of practice. This country's only 200 years old, and already we've had 10 major wars. We average a major war in this country every 20 years, so we're good at it. And it's a good thing we are. We're not very good at anything else anymore. Can't build a decent car, can't make a TV set or a VCR worth of got no steel industry left, can't get health care to our old people, can't educate our young people, but we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Huh? We can bomb the shit out of your country, all right?
Are we falling for another war?
Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today.
George Carlin once said America needs a new war every 20 years to keep the machine running, and right on schedule, here we are, again. So let's ask the question that matters: are we falling for another war?
Do you think they're not making a nuclear bomb then?
No, I didn't say that. Don't be. I did not say that. What I said was, you've not got any evidence that tells us that they do have a nuclear bomb.
Right,
and that's
so you doubt. You doubt that they're trying to make one.
If there is that evidence, then present it. Show it to me. Show me where I can see that.
Wouldn't it be a wee bit too late by the time they actually built one?
But we had these arguments before in relation to Iraq and weapons of mass destruction, did we not?
So in that case, you're quite chilled about it.
So I'm not chilled about it at all. I don't want to see conflict in the Middle East, and for certain, I don't want to see the loss of civilian life, which of course we've seen for very many months.
But when it comes to taking out nuclear bomb facilities, that's something which you think is preemptive because you don't quite believe that they're really going to make a bomb.
This is Fraser Nelson. He is a journalist and a historian, and advocating for war with Iran based on the fact that they may or may not have nuclear weapons. Also take note that Fraser seems to be some sort of lover of Trump. When you start joining these dots together, it seems quite apparent that we're being pushed in a direction by a certain group towards war. I might even go further and suggest that part of this is down to Donald Trump having awful poll ratings, which is why he's going to give it 2 weeks, so when the next set of polls come out, he can see whether or not Americans approve of this war or disapprove, and make a judgment based solely on that. But let's go back to that point about Iran having nuclear weapons. That excuse obviously has been used before in the past. And we're going to dig into the past and America's record for going into wars. But let's actually have a listen to what Donald Trump has to say as the reason.
But there's no way that you can allow, whether you have to fight or not, you can allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon, because the entire world will blow up.
And things have escalated even further with Donald Trump's tweet, which said, "We now have complete and total control of the skies of Iran." These are the exact same words and plans put into place in the invasion of Iraq. Arguably the easiest thing for America to do in a military situation and operation is to take control of the skies, because there are not many countries that can compete with them. Let's go back to what Trump said. He claimed that Iran was near to getting nuclear weapons. Well, that's not what the United States Director of National Intelligence said in March.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is at its highest levels and is unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons.
And when Trump was pressed on this is what he said.
Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to that.
That's interesting, because he seems to be repeating verbatim what the Prime Minister of Israel has been saying over his own national security. Just have a listen to Netanyahu talk about this problem since 1995.
Time is running out. They hope we'll reach the eastern seaboard of the United States within 15 years.
Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year.
Is it possible that Trump is following a foreign leader's advice and suggestions and security services? No. It's not like he's ever done anything like that before.
Dan Coates came to me and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be.
Oh, so he has done it before. Makes you wonder if they've got something on him. And it makes me think, has America ever lied before to get the American public and other countries to go to war? Bet you thought I was going to talk about the Gulf War, but actually I'm not. I'm going to talk about the Vietnam War, where they did a thing called a false flag operation. That's essentially when you want to make out as if the other country has started the war, and actually you did. It was called the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and essentially the Americans claimed that North Vietnamese speedboats had attacked the warship USS Maddox. It never took place, it was all made up, and it caused America to go into the Vietnam. This is Bill Hicks. You think he's talking about the most recent Gulf War, the Iraq War. He's not. He's actually talking about the first Iraq War, the Gulf. If you're this far in the video, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button.
The threat from Saddam Hussein and weapons of mass destruction, chemical, biological, potentially nuclear weapons capability, that threat is real.
Then we have the more recent Iraq War, where we were told that we were 45 minutes from attack by Saddam Hussein. Except now, we've got a former Prime Minister telling us it was all one big lie.
I think the Americans knew that he didn't have these weapons. Certainly in the Pentagon they knew, and they didn't tell us. And, you know, Chilcot did a great inquiry, but he wasn't able to look at the American evidence because the Americans didn't really cooperate with his inquiry. And now when I look at the American evidence, they didn't worry that he didn't have weapons. They were going to go for him anyway.
They were into regime change.
They wanted the regime to change and Saddam out.
Is this history repeating? And I've got to ask, if this is the third Gulf War, and Trump hated the second one so much that he called it out, why is he changing his tune?
It may have been the worst decision going into Iraq, may have been the worst decision anybody has made, any president has made in the history of this country. That's how bad it is, okay?
George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it? You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied.
Okay.
They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
And now, against all security advice, he's giving Iran 2 weeks to comply.
I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks.
The global nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, has said that they have got concerns about the rapid accumulation of highly enriched uranium in Iran. They're not sure if the actions are peaceful or not, and part of the problem is Iran is not allowing them in to check.
Since then, Iran has significantly increased the number of centrifuges it operates to enrich uranium. It has significantly increased its stockpiles of uranium.
But to be clear, they have found no proof that Iran is moving towards developing a nuclear weapon. But don't forget, it's also his US National Director of Intelligence saying the same thing. There's no evidence. And when Trump shoots this down, he doesn't provide any evidence himself to show that he is correct. One thing we can definitely agree on is the leadership from Iran and the leadership in Israel both want to wipe each other off the map. And what I find even more disturbing is that you've got British journalists parroting what Trump and the Americans are saying, even though there is no hard evidence, following the exact same playbook that we saw in Vietnam, the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War, and now the third Gulf War.
See, my mind doesn't work that way. I got this real moron thing I do. It's called thinking. And I'm not a really good American because I like to form my own opinions. I don't just roll over when I'm told to.
And the worst thing is, it seems to be just playing out the old book of let's just do regime change while selling it to the public that it's for the greater good. And it's what they've done in every single war. And every single time they put in a new regime, it's completely failed. Afghanistan and Iran both used to be democracies where you had freedom of expression, ability to go out without a burqa or hijab. And what America leaves behind is religious extremists who suppress everyone they don't like.
اورالو د شذو حقوق ته موږ د شذو حقوق طالبان هم د شذو د حقوق مخالف نه دي خو د شریعت په چوکاټ کې ټول افغانان چې دي هغه د شریعت.
Or has a judicial system straight out of the medieval ages where they seem to think that beating someone will find out whether or not they're innocent or guilty instead of finding out facts.
So logically, if she weighs the same as a duck, she's made of wood, and therefore a witch! A witch!
But I could, of course, be completely wrong about it being about regime change. Maybe it's about this.
War is nothing but a whole lot of prick waving, okay? Men are insecure about the size of their dicks, and so they have to go to war over it.
And that reminded me of this.
Which of these mushrooms, orange mushrooms, would most represent the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military?
Can you hold it up so it's coming at me at the correct angle?
Yes. They might fall off, though. Oh! Is this the one?
It's a nubbin! A what? It's a nubbin! It's a little nubbin!
So, for real, like, this is not, you're not just picking one of the small... Okay, well, this is not even the smallest one, but
No.
this is it, huh?
It's the most accurate depiction, yes.
Wow.
That's what all that asshole jock bullshit is all about. That's what all that adolescent macho male posturing and strutting in bars and locker rooms is all about. It's called dick fear.
We've seen this before with Vietnam, with the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War, and now a third Gulf War with Libya. It's always about lying to the public to get them on board with regime change. They keep trying regime change and it keeps failing, and if anything, it makes matters far worse. And now they're lying about Iran. And let me be absolutely clear, I'm pretty happy that a lot of these horrible dictators have now disappeared. The problem is, whatever's then put in place seems to be worse, not better. So what's the point in doing the regime change with war?
You know, my bit of being patriotic and proud of where I was born, this is where I'm from, was going to war. I mean, war's not just going there killing people or whatever, but you're also trying to help people out.
Build schools.
And,
Well, you help with
as I say,
education, didn't you?
You can build
Girls.
schools, you can send young girls to be educated or whatever, which is great. And I could then say, oh, well, at least if some kids are educated, that's fine. But in today's time now, with what's happened, just walking away, those same girls, can they use their education? No, they've got to burn their certificates in case they get caught out that they've been educated and they're dead.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are we heading towards war? Is this once again another set of lies coming out of the government in order to get the population on board with another war? Once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of my Patreon YouTube subscribers who keep this channel going and growing. If you'd like to help out for free, hit that like and subscribe button. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Bye for now.